Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Loyani, and in the previous video, we built the product grid and product card components with static data. Now it's time to make our UI reactive by connecting it to signals and rendering our products list. So before we create our signal, let's define a TypeScript interface for our products. This gives us the type safety and better autocomplete in our editor. So first, I'm just gonna create a new session on the terminal because I already have the npm run start running on the background. So the command is ng for the Angular CLI, generate interface, and then with the name products/product. You can also use the G for simplicity instead of interface, just I, and then again, products/product. So this is going to create the products interface or the model inside our products folder. Inside this interface, we can define all the properties that we would like a product to have. So for example, ID, we're gonna make it a number for now, a name, which is going to be a string, a description, which is also going to be a string, the price, which is going to be a number, and the original price, which is going to be a number. Now, because not every product is going to be on sale, I'm just going to add question mark here for the syntax. So the question mark is the optional property. So this field only applies to products that are going to be on sale. This interface will be used throughout our application whenever we work with product data. One thing that is very important in TypeScript is that when we are typing our properties, we're always using the lowercase, including for strings. Now let's create a signal to hold our product data. We're gonna go back to the products grid and open the TypeScript file. And we're gonna start declaring our signal. So it's going to be protected as a best practice because we're only gonna be making a reference of the signal in the template. We're gonna make this read only for now because we're not modifying the reference to this object. And then we're gonna call it products. And this is going to be a signal. We're gonna use the diamond operator here just to type our signal, which is going to be an array of products. In this case, we also need to import the signal. So I'm gonna update the import and the product as well. And here we can also initialize our signal. To initialize it, we're just going to open and close parentheses. And since this is an array, I'm just going to open and close square brackets. And inside, I'm just going to add some synthetic data so we can see something in the screen. So we have 3 products with IDs with the name, description, price, original price, and notice that only the first product has an original price. So again, we are explicitly typing the signal as a signal that holds a list of products, not just a single product. This is gonna give us a strong type safety and better autocomplete while we build. Now let's go ahead and read the signal in the template. So I'm gonna open the products grid. Before the grid, I'm just gonna add some placeholders here just so we can see how this works. I'm just gonna add a div with a class called the products container. And inside this div, I'm just gonna add a paragraph with the total products. We're gonna use interpolation and we're gonna read the signal here. In this case, remember how to read a signal. We just make a reference to the name of the property. In this case is products. And then we open and close parentheses to access the getter function. And once we have the products, we can access some of its properties. Because this is an array, we're going to have the length property available. And because this is a signal, every time that the signal updates, this expression reevaluates automatically. If we go back to the browser, we can see that now we have the total products as 3 because we have 3 products inside our signal. Let's render the full products list. This is where Angular's modern control flow really shines. We're going to use the for control to loop through the array from our signal and print 1 block per product. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. So from this products container, we're add another div. And in this div, we're also going to add some styling and called a products grid, just to read a little bit better other than just grid. Here we're going to use the Angular control flow at 4. And it's nice that the editor is already giving us some auto-completion. So we're just going to use this. For the item, we're going to name our local variable product of products. Here's where we're going to make a reference to our products signal. And don't forget that we are reading a signal, so we have to access its getter function. In the track, we're going to use product ID. Notice that by making a reference to this variable, we already have the autocomplete. Now, in this case, the property that is unique to each product is going to be its identifier, so we're just going to use the product ID. This is going to tell Angular to use each product unique ID as the key so it can correctly match existing DOM elements to the data items when the list changes. So why this track matters? So without this, Angular has less information to match old items with the new ones, so it may recreate more DOM than necessary when the list changes. With the track product ID, Angular can keep the existing DOM nodes for items that did not change and update only the ones that actually changed. That means fewer unnecessary re-renders and a smoother UI, especially as our list grows. And inside the block 4, we're also going to place the HTML that Angular will repeat for each iteration of the loop. So in this case, I'm going to add a product card. And I'm going to remove as well this old block so we have the more updated code. Now let's go back to the CSS file. I'm going to add the products container. And here, I'm also going to rename this to product grid, products grid. And if we go back to the browser, now we can see that we have 3 products because we only have 3 products inside our signals array. Just for reference, this is how we used to write a list rendering with ngFor. So we'll have the ngFor directive inside the HTML tag, and then the let keyword with the name of the local variable, which in this case is product of products. So this continues the same. And instead of track, we used to use the track by with the product ID. However, the track by was not mandatory. So this was also one of the changes that the Angular team has made once they have introduced the new control flow. We can still use the ngFor. It still works if we add the directive import to our products grid. However, the Angular team has indicated that they intend to remove it in the next version, which is Angular 22. So we're going to use the new control flow so we get used to the modern Angular and not the legacy or classic one. Now, the for control flow also comes with additional capabilities as well. For example, what if we have no products? The for block also supports an empty section for this case. So let's add it. So here, we're going to add empty. And inside, we're also going to add a div. And I'm going to style this div with a class called empty state. I'm going to add a met icon. This is going to be inventory _2 with a header of no products available and a paragraph saying check back later for new arrivals. This empty block only renders when the array is empty. This is cleaner than wrapping everything with an if check. So before we test it, let's add the styles for this empty state as well. I'm gonna go back to the styles and add an empty state. So here's what these styles are accomplishing. The grid column makes the empty state span the full grid width. The display flex with the flex direction column and the align item center, and the justify content center is going to center the icon and the text in a clean vertical stack. The padding and the text align center is going to create a comfortable spacing and readable alignment. For the material icon, we're going to add some sizing and column to make the state empty icon visible and consistent with the material theme. And then the title and the paragraph, we're going to use some color tokens to keep the typography aligned with the active theme. Let's test this temporarily by cleaning up the products array. So I'm quickly going to comment this out. Let's go back to the browser and we can see that no products are available. And we also have the total products here as 0, just so we can check it out. And if we uncomment and go back to the browser, now we have again the list of our products. Now, the for block also provides some useful context variables. Let's explore them. Temporarily, I'm gonna add another example so we can explore all these variables. Let me also add a word wrap here so we can see the entire content on the screen. So these are the available context variables. We have the index, which is the current index. This is 0 base. This way you know exactly that this is product 0, 1, 2, and 3. The total we can also access with the count in this way. If we don't want to do this, what we have done at the top, we could also add the total label here. The first is true if this is the first item. The last is true if this is the last item. And then we also have even and odd. We're also going to add some styling so we can see this in action. So I'm quickly going to go back to our products grid and I'm going to add the item to the even row, odd, first item, and last item as well. So in this example, the is first and is last is going to let us highlight the boundaries. The is even or is odd is allowing us to style the alternating rows, and the total is just showing us the progress. Let's see this in action. So we can see that the first row has some special styling. The last row also has some special styling. And if you can see, we have a light shade of blue and some grayish for the even and odd rows. And here we can also see the index in action with 1, 2, and 3, and the total as well with 104, 204, 304, and 404. This comes handy when you're trying to style your list, as this example. Let's recap what we have learned in this video. We have defined an interface for type safety, and we created a product interface. We have also created a signal to store the products list. We have also read the signals with the parentheses by accessing the getter function. We have rendered a list with the for control with the required track for performance. We have also learned how to use the empty block to handle empty arrays. This is cleaner than a separate if check, which we have not covered yet. And we have also learned about the context variables with index, first, last, even, odd, and count. In the next video, we're going to pass product data to the products card using the input. And in this case, we're going to replace all these placeholders with the real data. If you're enjoying the video or if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.